welcome here to one of my favorite tracks. Welcome to the legendary track, the track that's always been part of the Formula 1 calendar, which is the Circuit de Monaco out there in Monte Carlo, Monaco. Yeah, of course. And of course, in our brand new F1 2026 fashion, we will take you on a super hot lap in this F1 25 Scarlet Red Ferrari. Obviously, we've haven't been on this hot lap, with this particular car, but we cannot wait to sample it with a real F1 26 car. So definitely stay tuned for that. And we will really take you around the track that's been almost unchanged for a century. You can see obviously over here scheduled as round 8 of the 2026 FI Formula 1 World Championship, and I have to say it's by far the biggest challenge over here that you can have when you're racing for Scuderia Ferrari, especially if your teammate is Charles Leclerc, who is absolutely dominant over here. But we are improving step by step, and really racking up the championships help us to master this great track as well, which presents so many challenges. And obviously, because it is over 100 years old, it's kind of I wouldn't say maybe not suitable for the current cars, but it definitely presents a very unique challenge. Also, the Saturday tends to be much more important than the Sunday. Why is that? Because if you qualify first, it's almost 50% guaranteed that you will be on the top 7 of the podium. So we will take a look at the all-important setup, because obviously, the cars can go really super fast over here. It's absolutely amazing just how fast the modern machines can go, but you really need to have a confidence in every turn. Then we will go on a warm-up lap. We will take a look at obviously the beautiful scenery. Definitely do check out some of the fantastic videos from our travels around the Circuit de Monaco, especially around the swimming pool or around the casino. The views are spectacular, very beautiful. I would definitely love, for example, to move there, make it my another home sweet home. And of course, we will tell you especially how to drive it, right? So Monaco is known as the driver's circuit, and for a very good reason. The setup is pretty much gonna be all the high downforce, but you will have to be, you have to know basically how to turn the wheel, how to apply the throttle, because a lot of the modern tracks, especially for the modern cars, they are designed to make it also easier for a driver, right? So you can hit the brakes hard, you can hit the throttle pedal hard, so that you can accelerate it out of the turns and brake, into some of these challenging corners. But that's not the case with Monaco. And of course, this is the only track also from the kind of the old traditional circuits that we haven't won it. That's why there is that solitary Formula 1 Grand Prix winner trophy, because while we of course planted it in a pole position, while we of course have gotten the fastest lap, we've never won the Grand Prix. We've never actually finished on the podium, let alone get the points. So our best finish over here was 15, but we do know how to plant it on a pole position, so definitely we will show it to you. And of course, Scuderia Ferrari now, especially with Charles Leclerc, his home track, we really hope he can plant it on the pole position once again over here. He's absolutely mega, and add to the 10 victories for Scuderia Ferrari. We've obviously raced here for 75 years, so that could have been a little bit higher number. Also 11 pole positions, but 17 fastest at 54 podiums, so you're almost guaranteed to get a Ferrari podium. And I'm sure it's going to be a really interesting race with the F1 26 machine. So over here, let me come into the cockpit of the SF1000T N18 Formula 1 Racing Simulator and race. Let's race the crown jewel, the Monaco. Yay! So over here. Okay, so let me get in over here. And of course, we will take our Scarlet Red Ferrari over here for a spin. And everybody, let's go here to the Circuit de Monaco. And now the Circuit de Monaco, you can see the fastest time, 1 minute 12.9, held by Lewis Hamilton. So this could be a really great opportunity over here for Lewis to show us what he can do. But yeah, you can just see Monaco obviously being built on an enclave, right? Surrounded by France over here. Now it's almost like a national French Grand Prix. But you can see how wonderful it looks like over here. And you will be going pretty much from the one edge to the Principality to the other, great viewing spots from the yachts, but also pretty much from lots of the vantage points, around the circuit. So first, we need the setup, right? So without the right setup, obviously you would struggle in Monaco. But here, to be perfectly honest with you, of course, you do know that you have to put in a lot of what we call the wings, the downforce, right? So that is absolutely necessary with Monaco, because otherwise you couldn't get around the corners. Fuel load stays at 10 kilograms, and aerodynamics over here, we will max it out all the way from wing aero 250 and rear wing aero 250. Maximum downforce, I don't think you can go any other way, because then pretty much there are so many corners that require the maximum downforce. You will just be really stuck there. But transmission is something you can definitely play with. So differential adjustment on throttle will be at 25%. Normally I do obviously very low differential, but this one really allows you to feel the car, to throw it around the corners. And I decided to go for it this weekend, so hopefully I will break my hoodoo here in Monaco and get my first ever Monaco Grand Prix. Differential adjustment of throttle at 45%. Lots of the turns, that helps you with the rotation, but you need the traction, right? So obviously if you have the unlocked differential over here, that doesn't help with the friction a lot. So you have to adjust the setup accordingly. For the suspension geometry, front camber is at minus 3.50 degrees, rear camber at minus 2.00 degrees, all the way to the minimum. But here we will actually push the front toe out to the 0.08 degrees and the rear toe into 0.18 degrees. So kind of like to the middle ground over here, which is unusual for pretty much all of the other tracks. Now for the suspension, front suspension at 37, rear suspension at 15, that balance obviously of the soft and firm. Front anti-roll bar at 15, rear anti-roll bar at 7, again balance between the front and the rear. And the rear ride height, so of course it is a street circuit, just like other street circuits. It will be bumpy, especially around the casino over there. There are lots of big bumps, so you don't want to run the car too low, because then the plane wear obviously could be an issue, but simply the stability wouldn't be that good. So front ride height at 23, rear ride height at 52, so relatively higher than we usually run. Now for the brakes, front brake bias at 56% to prevent any from locking, because here the walls are ever so close, and man, if you hit the wall, that pretty much spells and lose the wing. Then you lose so much of the downforce that you will just lose so much time. You immediately pretty much have to replace it. So you gotta make sure you don't look up front or also the rear wheels. And that is because we are running brake pressure at 100% to help us stop as quickly as possible. But due to the nature, obviously very slippery surface, by far the most slippery surface on all of the F1, this beautiful calendar. So you do have to make sure you treat that brake as your girlfriend this time, not just the throttle. And for the tires, so here, because we are running such an open differential, we will put the tires all the way to the minimum to help us with the traction. So front right tire pressure at 22.7 psi, rear right tire pressure also at from left tire pressure, at 22.7 psi, rear right tire pressure at 20.5 psi, and rear left tire pressure at 20.5 psi. And this setup, I have to say, the car is very drivable around Monaco, and that is the most important thing. Also staying within the limits can be an issue somewhere, especially going around the chicane. So over here, now you know how to set up the car, but now you need to know how to drive it. So everybody, let's go over here. So this is Circuit de Monaco. This is Lara's Cuts, okay? And over here, so entering the Welsh chicane, right? So you can see they're always building the set. But here we have to turn in very early. Michael Schumacher showed that you can definitely overtake. It is kind of the unsighted corner. But actually, if you can just nail the apex, very early one, and then immediately here you will have a straight mode for 2026. You had the DRS, you're then heading pretty much down the main straight towards, the Prince of Monaco waiting for you with the iconic trophy design, in the shape of the track. It is important because here you can easily get a couple of tenths. The final corner does have a lot of the speed hidden in there, but obviously over here on the straight, you will just be pummeling straight over here. All the pits are to the left, just in front of the swimming pool. But here, look at this! This is where the Prince of Monaco and the royal family is! Yes! So you can see, so they can see pretty much the race, from a really great vantage point from which I think you can see pretty much all of the track. So you will be pummeling down to the San Devot over here. This is really a residential area for most of the Monegasque, including Leclerc. 7th gear, and you brake hard with authority over here. Normally there is a roundabout, the 3rd or 2nd gear. 2nd gear pretty much ensures that you can get around in front of some of these fancy hotels with great swimming pools intact. So you do definitely want to do that. And then you're going going up over here. So this is great, you know, for the wall, right? But you can see, you know, just how the wheel is moving. If you know, you can see that it's kind of moving by itself because there are lots of bumps. So you will be, for you, it's a straight, so 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th gear. Normally the traffic goes the other way, so it could be a bit slippery, but because you're going up the hill, you will have all the downforce you need. That look at the casino, wow, very beautiful. And you know, later in and go 5th, 4th, 3rd gear. Play with the gear. Here is Hotel de Paris, the most expensive hotel. Obviously, Monaco is so beautiful, isn't it? But here, this is, you know, really challenging, you know, corners around the casino. You know, a lot of the changes of direction, and here is the biggest bump that you can have. You know, obviously that ended our race last year, and it is important to actually stay to the left. Some of the very expensive restaurants here nicely to your left and park to the right, and you know, then accelerate and especially use no battery power. That is very important as you then brake in. And because, you know, the key as the sea opens up over here, and here, you know, try to take an early turn in like some of the Michael Schumacher's laps. What is very important is actually that you do not use all of the horsepower, because the 1000 horsepower is simply, you cannot handle it. Even here going to the hairpin, so usually I just turn off the battery. It's a great place to recharge the battery, so battery won't be any issue in Monaco for sure. There's never been, but actually, you know, you go quicker without the battery than with battery. Very counterintuitive, right? Yeah, and here, you know, this turn as you're heading down to the portiere, well, you can take a bit of a curve, but just don't go run over it too much, so you don't cut the corners. Look at it over here. There's a lot of new developments, so that part, you know, of the Monaco will soon be closed. And early turn-ins, you really want to be kissing the wall, right? Monaco, obviously surrounded by friends, is very romantic, and if you can be kissing the wall, that's pretty much perfect apex. Here you can accelerate and go on the power with the setup very early, and that will be very important because you will be going down. Obviously, what is the tunnel, right? So 4th, 5th, 6th, you know, 7th gear, again very well designed with a nice breeze of the Mediterranean Sea. And here, you know, is it an overtaking opportunity or not? Well, you know, it will be difficult to imagine, but basically you hit the brakes very hard before the 100-meter board, but do not look up. 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd gear, and here it's very important that you get a turn in just right. And obviously here we have eaten when I was a teenager at the restaurant. My angel Amy, she loves watching the yachts over here, but it is important over here to get out of the chicane as quickly as possible. But you got the corner, your lap will be invalidated. And here, inside the Tabak, you know, obviously the track goes the other way. And here it is very important that you go 4th gear. Again, you know, try to kiss the wall. The 5th gear in F125 doesn't work, in F124 it does though. And here is a swimming pool, fantastic place, very affordable for Monaco standards. I believe just 10 you know, euros per entrance that you can jump out of there. But here you will be going absolutely mega, 6th, 7th gear almost. And here it is important, you know, quick burst of the deceleration, 4th, 3rd gear. Again, you know, try to hit the barrier there if you can. Yeah, it's easy to unsettle the car. And here, short bursts, you know, of the power. So you're gonna be playing with the throttle pedal, as you will see in a hot light, which is coming up. Going into the Raskas, obviously that is a restaurant. You know, you brake relatively early, 2nd or 1st gear. 1st gear gives you nice rotation so that you can then, you know, go up the hill. And you know, if the other car bottoms out like I'm doing now, and you can overtake them, and here you can go to the pits. And this would be pretty much the warm-up of the lap around Monaco. So let's go on the hot lap. This is Crown Jewel of Formula 1, everybody. Let's go. This is Monaco. Circuit de Monaco, come on, Jan. Oh no, invalidated time. So you can see too much rotation, but let's go around the casino here, and full power, and rotate the car like you are a champion. All right, nice one. Let's go, Jan, come on. And here we're going through the tunnel. Nice. Come on, Jan, Solix a champion. Tabak, very good. Okay, and because this is Monaco, you guys, we love it so much. and early turn in Anthony Newell's. Let's go for hot lap number 2. Come on, Jan, come on. This is Monaco. And this time we've gotten the sun devil. Come on, let's go. Let's enjoy the hot lap. Wow, look how beautiful it is. Come on. Oh, braking. Come on, Jan, you mastering it. And the hairpin over here. Nice one, Jan, come on. Short burst and around the portiere. Very, very good exit. Come on, Jan, this is a champion drive. Let's go towards the chicane. Good one, come on, this is Tabak. And look at it, full power around the swimming pool. And let's get the Larascas over here. Come on, yeah, come on, Smiley's a champion, come on. Yes, and this would be the lap around Monaco over here. So you can see, it's obviously not easy, but yeah, we made it. Yeah, so I hope you guys, enjoyed. Obviously, you can see it is quite challenging, and we did obviously 2 over there because it's a crown jewel, but also because we invalidated that lap time for the first time in our half lap series. So whenever we do that, we obviously want to go for one more to show you that you can definitely go quicker through that. I definitely lost some time, right? The second time of asking, but you can see that once you know how to drive Monaco over here, yeah, it is such a pleasure to drive. And yeah, you can see over here, you then stop pretty much over here, a little bit closer, to the place where you have the royalty. That obviously you shouldn't spray it with the champagne unless Leclerc is winning. And I'm sure it could be another very, very emotional race. Hopefully it will be, and hopefully I will also get to sample at least the podium or at least the points here in Monaco, and the victory. I would be absolutely all over the moon. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Yeah, so over here, that was the hot lap around Monaco. So yeah, pretty well executed. Obviously, I wanted to stay within the 2 seconds over there, but you can see, just how difficult it is, right? Like when I was tackling that Anthony Newell's chicane, right? It was just really difficult. For example, you can always, slide in very, very easily over there. But yeah, if in doubt, right, always go like a lower gear. Again, with this setup, it has a great drivability over here, and again, I cannot wait to race. It's a very picturesque. Again, it is right up there as described on the Ferrari.com website. With winning the world title, you can see just how much it means, especially to Leclerc, but also to us as Scuderia Ferrari. This is where we made our debut in the Formula One, as we definitely have told you in our race introduction. So again, it holds a special significance. And I have to say, the Monaco is pretty much untouchable. It's really the crown jewel of Formula One. It is what Formula One is all about. And as the cars get smaller, obviously nowadays with the battery boost and everything, even though again, using the battery over here can lead to the wheel spin, right? So that's what makes you slower. So actually, when I was obviously doing the concurrent season, I was often not using the battery, only on pretty much the straights, right, and going through the tunnel and on the straight. So it will be interesting to see how that works out. But again, if Leclerc puts it on pole, or Hamilton, if we look at the front row, this could be a very, very memorable victory. And obviously the start, from the June of, maybe the Ferrari dominance in Formula One, as a lot of the directives will change. So everybody, I hope you will enjoy the racing. I'm sure that you loved over here in my Scarlet Red fashion, how I show you how to master the Circuit de Monaco, the brown hole of the Monaco's, Grand Prix 97 pretty much edition, 100 years coming in just 3 years. So that will be a huge celebration. I cannot wait for that. But now, all I can say is, this is what Formula One, this is the real heart, the crown jewel of Formula One is all about. So everybody, let's go racing. We love racing. We love Formula One. We love Monaco. We love Ferrari. Forza Ferrari.